We continue with Chapter 5. During the winter, we had driven up to Montezuma a few times. There, we had seen a very handsome house about a quarter of a mile beyond the town. Max told me that in summer it was used as a boarding house. Years before, it had been the place to stay when the horse-drawn stage came over Argentine Pass on its way to the mining camps and on to Dillon. Luckily for us, we heard that the lady who owned the White House, as it was called, was up in Montezuma and had opened for the summer. Well, this solved the problem for the moment of where Max's parents could stay while they arranged for their house to be built. Max's father, an architect, had already drawn up the plans. During the winter, he had sent us sketches of their new house. We promised them 2 acres on which to build somewhere in our meadow. They only had to pick the spot. Early one Sunday morning in May, I could hear the sound of a truck coming up the road. We had just moved into the cabin, and being close to the road, we could easily hear any vehicles that passed. The truck started to slow down. It's coming here, I thought. Sure enough, it shifted down and turned into the yard. We jumped out of bed, dressed in a hurry, and ran outside. The truck driver was getting out of the cab. He looked around at the old 2-room cabin and the ranch house with no chinking between the logs. He also noted the open hay shed, the horse barn, chicken coop, and 2 log vehicle sheds. "I've got a truck full of furniture. Where do you want me to unload it?" he asked. We looked around in complete astonishment. "Oh my God, my folks have sent all their stuff already. We'll have to put it in the nearest shed," said Max. "I'll have to check to see if it's clean enough." Looking into the shed, we found it had a wood floor of sorts, and it was empty. "Why not put it all in there for the time being?" I said. As the furniture was being unloaded, I looked at the lovely white-covered couch, the maple ladder-back chairs and dining table, and the 7-foot-high cherry cabinet with original glass pane windows. Somehow I couldn't see all this stacked up in an old, almost falling down storage shed. What to do? During the winter, we had met a miner, Max Bunker, who was operating up on Independence Mountain, the mountain rising just south of the ranch. Max Bunker came driving up the road just as all the furniture was being set down on the dirt. It all looked so incongruous with the log cabins as a background. The Dercum home in Cleveland with all these lovely things had been featured in Town and Country magazine. Max Bunker looked it over and then sat down on the couch. "Well, might as well enjoy it now. It won't last long in that cabin with the mice playing tag on the rafters." Max Bunker stretched out his legs with a luxurious sigh and said, "I know a guy who couldn't enjoy sitting on this comfortable couch for a while. A couple of nights ago, Ike and I drove up Keystone Gulch to visit our friends at a cabin up there. They invited us to stay for supper. We sat around chewing the fat. Ike went back of the cabin to the privy before we left. It had been dark. He stumbled around till he found it. All of a sudden we heard this god-awful yell, and here came Ike, busting in the cabin with his pants down around his knees. 'I sat on a porcupine,' he yells at us. Well, we made him lie down on the floor on his face. While the wife holds the kerosene lamp, her husband holds down Ike, and I pulls the quills out. Ike ain't going to be sitting down for a while." We spent the day storing the boxed items in the log shed. The rest, along with the oriental rugs, went right into the two-room cabin. Surprisingly, it all fit in. We invited Max B for lunch and a beer. Just as we were sitting down, we heard a car drive up. Here were Max's parents. "We've arrived," they exclaimed. "Didn't expect you so soon," I said, wondering what they would say when they saw the furniture in the cabin. But on entering, they laughed. "Not a bad home for the time being, and it looks cozy. Mother and I will drive up to Montezuma and get settled in at that nice boarding house Max told us about. Then we'll see about starting to build." Father and Mother Dercum were called Opa and Oma by all of us. We had no more taken a deep sigh of relief when we heard another car drive up. It was an old Studebaker with a camper trailer pulled behind. "Hi, we made it!" And out climbed Earl and Edna Ganong, followed by their two little blonde girls, Eleanor and Joanna, aged 5 and 3. "Who's in the back?" I asked after greeting all around. "Oh, that's my mom, Mormor. You remember her from Longview." "Of course," I answered, and went up to the car to welcome her. Now we had a Bestmore and a Mormor, and they'd be company for each other. We've brought all our furniture, and we sold the Longview house," Earl announced. "We are here to stay." "Well, let me show you the Alhambra cabin up the road where we lived last year," said Max. "Then all of you come back down here and we'll have a cookout to celebrate your arrival. It's great that you all got here the same day. You'll no more be getting settled, Earl, and then I'll bet we'll be working up at the mountain, cutting ski trails. It's funny, but we'll probably be using the same saw, and it's the same cat and truck we had when we worked together out of Longview last summer." Max took off with the Gannon caravan following. I thought, all winter we'd had only 2 neighbors, and suddenly we have 9.